The acrid smell of volcanic ash drifts across the African highlands as Kesi crouches behind a cluster of fever trees, her dark eyes scanning the savanna below. Her heart pounds against her ribcage, not from fear, but from the desperate hunger gnawing at her belly. It's been 3 days since her small band last tasted meat, and the sparse fruits scattered across this harsh landscape won't sustain them much longer. What she doesn't realize is that this moment, this crushing need for survival, is reshaping the very essence of what it means to be human. 4.8 million years ago, the world is a furnace of change. The great ice sheets are expanding and retreating in rhythmic cycles, transforming lush forests into sprawling grasslands, forcing our earliest ancestors to make choices that will echo through millions of years of evolution. Kesi belongs to a species we would barely recognize today, Ardipithecus ramidus, yet in her weathered hands and calculating mind lies the blueprint for everything we would become. She watches a herd of 3-toed horses grazing in the distance, their muscles rippling beneath coarse hide as they tear at the tough grasses. These aren't the delicate creatures that will gallop across future plains, but massive, powerful beasts that dwarf the small band of early hominids huddled in the trees above. Kesi knows she cannot bring down such prey with her bare hands and simple stone tools, but her survival depends on finding a way. The sun beats down mercilessly as she signals to her companions, Jengo, scarred from countless battles with predators, and young Amara, whose quick fingers can strip seeds from grass stalks faster than anyone in their group. Together, they represent something revolutionary in the natural world, creatures who don't just adapt to their environment, but actively reshape their diet and behavior to survive in an ever-changing landscape. Jengo's weathered face tells a story written in countless small scars and sun-darkened skin. His powerful jaw, still more ape-like than human, works methodically as he chews on tough tubers they've managed to dig from the hardpan soil. The constant grinding motion has worn his teeth down to nubs, but his body has learned to extract every possible calorie from these fibrous plant materials. This isn't just eating, it's biological engineering in real time. The landscape surrounding them pulses with life and death in equal measure. Massive saber-toothed cats prowl the grasslands, their amber eyes constantly searching for weakness among the herds. Ancient elephants, their tusks gleaming like ivory spears, trumpet warnings across the savanna as they protect their young from packs of bone-crushing hyenas. In this world, every meal could be your last, and every decision shapes not just individual survival, but the evolutionary trajectory of an entire species. Amara's nimble fingers work through a patch of sedge grass, her technique refined through years of practice that began when she could barely walk. She understands intuitively what modern science is only now discovering, that the human digestive system is remarkably adaptable, capable of processing an incredible variety of foods that other primates cannot handle. Her stomach acid is becoming more potent, her intestinal tract more efficient, her entire metabolic system reorganizing itself around survival. The air shimmers with heat as the band begins their daily search for sustenance. Unlike the specialized feeders around them, the leaf-eating colobus monkeys, the fruit-dependent chimpanzees, the grass-grazing ungulates, these early humans are developing something unprecedented: dietary flexibility. They'll eat roots, tubers, seeds, insects, small mammals, fish, eggs, fruits, and even scavenged bone marrow from kills abandoned by larger predators. Kesi's keen eyes spot movement near a dried riverbed. A group of early baboons has discovered something, their excited chatter echoing across the stone-scattered landscape. She knows this sound. It means food, possibly meat. Her band moves with practiced stealth, each member understanding their role without spoken communication. They've learned that in this harsh world, opportunity must be seized instantly before larger, more powerful competitors arrive. The scene they discover makes Kesi's mouth water despite the danger it represents. A young antelope, possibly injured or sick, lies struggling in the mud near what remains of a waterhole. The baboons are already beginning to feed, their powerful jaws tearing at the still living animal with brutal efficiency. But Kesi sees something they don't: the tracks of a massive predator in the mud nearby, still fresh enough that the edges haven't yet dried in the scorching sun. Jengo grips a carefully shaped stone in his calloused hand. It's not much of a weapon by modern standards, barely more than a rock with one sharp edge, but it represents millions of years of accumulated knowledge about how to extract nutrition from the environment. He knows exactly where to strike to crack open bones for their protein-rich marrow, how to slice through tough hide to reach the tender organs beneath, how to process plant materials that would be indigestible raw. The baboons suddenly scatter with terrified shrieks as a shadow passes overhead. A massive eagle, its wingspan broader than a human is tall, circles the kill site with predatory patience. This is Stephanoatus maheri, an eagle capable of taking down prey as large as small antelope, and it views the injured animal below as an easy meal. For Kesi's band, this presents both opportunity and mortal danger. Young Amara's role becomes crucial now. Her sharp eyes scan the surrounding terrain for escape routes, while her sensitive ears track the movements of potential threats. She's learned to read the landscape like a survival manual, which trees can bear weight for emergency climbing, which rock formations offer defensive positions, which grassland patches might conceal predators. This knowledge isn't taught through formal instruction, but absorbed through constant vigilance and hard-earned experience. The injured antelope's labored breathing creates a rhythm of desperation that resonates with Kesi's own survival instincts. She knows they have mere minutes before larger predators arrive, drawn by the scent of blood and vulnerability. The decision to approach means risking everything for a meal that could sustain them for days. The choice to retreat means facing another night of gnawing hunger and potentially losing weaker members of their band to starvation. Jengo makes the call with a subtle gesture, and the three companions begin their carefully coordinated approach. Their movement patterns have been honed by countless similar encounters, staying low, using available cover, maintaining multiple escape routes, never committing fully to any action that doesn't allow for instant retreat. They've learned these lessons through watching other bands make fatal mistakes, through surviving encounters that killed less cautious relatives, through the brutal mathematics of predator and prey. As they near the struggling antelope, the complexity of their dietary revolution becomes apparent. Unlike specialized carnivores with powerful jaws and razor-sharp teeth, or dedicated herbivores with complex digestive systems for processing cellulose, these early humans are developing something far more flexible and ultimately more successful: the ability to extract nutrition from virtually anything the environment provides. Kesi's approach to the dying animal reveals sophisticated understanding of anatomy, developed through countless scavenging experiences. She knows which organs provide the highest caloric density, which bones contain accessible marrow, which portions will spoil first in the African heat. Her stone tool, crude by modern standards, becomes an extension of her survival instincts as she works with practiced efficiency to extract maximum nutrition before competing predators arrive. The taste of fresh meat floods their mouths with proteins and fats their bodies desperately need. But this isn't just feeding, it's evolutionary transformation in action. The concentrated calories from animal tissue are fueling brain development that will eventually lead to language, tool-making, art, and civilization itself. Every bite represents millions of years of accumulated survival wisdom, encoded in their genes, their digestive systems, their behavioral patterns. Amara keeps watch while the adults feed, her young nervous system hyper-alert to the slightest indication of approaching danger. The acrid scent of volcanic activity mingles with the metallic smell of blood and the earthy aroma of disturbed soil, creating a sensory landscape that speaks of constant change and adaptation. Her role as sentinel isn't just about immediate survival. It's about learning the skills she'll need to guide her own offspring through this challenging world. The distant rumble of thunder promises afternoon storms that could provide precious water, but also create new dangers. Flash floods can transform dry riverbeds into torrents within minutes, stranding anyone caught in the wrong location. These early humans have learned to read weather patterns not through sophisticated instruments, but through subtle changes in air pressure, animal behavior, and cloud formations that their descendants will forget as they develop more advanced technologies. Jengo's scarred hands work methodically to break open leg bones for their nutrient-rich marrow. The technique requires precise application of force and intimate knowledge of bone structure, skills developed through trial and error over countless meals. His success rate represents the difference between his offspring surviving to reproduce and his genetic line ending in starvation. Every successful extraction of marrow is a victory against extinction itself. The sound of approaching hyena calls creates immediate tension among the feeding hominids. These aren't the relatively small spotted hyenas of modern Africa, but massive bone-crushing predators capable of driving off much larger competitors. Their distinctive whooping calls echo across the savanna like prehistoric sirens, warning all smaller predators and scavengers that the apex carnivores are claiming their territory. Kesi's decision-making process operates on multiple levels simultaneously. She must weigh immediate nutritional gains against long-term survival risks, consider the needs of her companions against her own hunger, balance boldness with caution in split-second choices that could determine whether her band survives another day. These calculations happen below the level of conscious thought, encoded in survival instincts refined over millions of years. The band's retreat from the kill site demonstrates their sophisticated understanding of predator behavior and territorial dynamics. They don't flee in panic, but execute a coordinated withdrawal that maximizes their harvested nutrition while minimizing exposure to larger competitors. Each member carries portions of meat and bone, ensuring that even if they're separated, everyone has resources for survival. As they make their way across the sun-baked landscape toward temporary shelter, the broader implications of their dietary flexibility become apparent. Unlike specialized feeders who thrive in specific environments but struggle when conditions change, these adaptable omnivores are developing survival strategies that will allow their descendants to colonize virtually every habitat on Earth. The late afternoon sun creates long shadows across the grassland as the band settles into a defensive position among a cluster of granite boulders. The rocks provide protection from wind, concealment from predators, and elevated positions for spotting approaching threats. Their choice of shelter reflects accumulated wisdom about defensive positioning that will eventually evolve into sophisticated military tactics and urban planning. Amara's exploration of the surrounding area reveals additional food sources that less observant eyes might miss. She identifies edible grasses, locates insects rich in protein, discovers tubers buried beneath the surface soil, and catalogues the locations of everything for future reference. Her mental mapping abilities are creating detailed survival databases that will be passed down through generations of careful observation and practical instruction. The evening feeding demonstrates the full spectrum of dietary adaptability that's emerging among these early humans. They consume tough plant fibers that require extensive chewing, process nutrient-dense animal fats that fuel brain development, extract proteins from insects and small animals, and supplement their diet with fruits, nuts, and seeds whenever available. This omnivorous approach provides nutritional insurance against environmental fluctuations that would devastate more specialized species. Jengo's evening activities include crafting new tools from available materials, sharpening existing implements, and teaching younger band members essential survival techniques through demonstration and guided practice. The knowledge transmission happening around their temporary shelter represents the foundation of human culture, information passed between generations not through genetic programming, but through learned behavior and accumulated wisdom. The night sounds of the African savanna create an audio landscape of constant vigilance. Every rustle of grass might indicate approaching predators. Every distant call could signal opportunities or threats. Every change in the acoustic environment requires immediate assessment and appropriate response. These early humans are developing auditory processing capabilities that will eventually enable complex language and music. Kesi's evening observations of star patterns and seasonal changes demonstrate emerging cognitive abilities that transcend immediate survival needs. Her brain is beginning to recognize long-term cycles and predictive patterns that will eventually enable agriculture, navigation, and scientific understanding. The intellectual foundations for human civilization are being laid in these moments of quiet contemplation between survival crises. The band's sleeping arrangements reflect sophisticated understanding of group dynamics, defensive positioning, and thermal regulation. They position themselves to maximize warmth sharing while maintaining ability to respond quickly to threats with established protocols for different types of emergency situations. Their social organization is becoming more complex as survival challenges require increased cooperation and coordination. As dawn approaches across the ancient savanna, Kesi dreams of abundance. Vast herds of game animals, trees heavy with fruit, reliable sources of water that don't disappear with seasonal changes. Her unconscious mind processes the day's experiences, consolidating survival lessons and emotional memories that will guide future decisions. These dream states are becoming longer and more complex as brain development accelerates. The morning light reveals new challenges and opportunities across the transformed landscape. Overnight rains have altered water sources, shifted animal movement patterns, and changed the accessibility of various food resources. The band must adapt their survival strategies to these constant environmental fluctuations, while maintaining the social cohesion necessary for group survival in a dangerous world. Jengo's morning ritual of tool maintenance and weapon preparation demonstrates the increasing importance of technology in early human survival. His carefully crafted implements represent thousands of hours of accumulated knowledge about materials, techniques, and applications. The sophistication of his toolkit is advancing faster than genetic evolution, creating survival advantages that can be shared and improved across generations. The day's journey takes them across diverse terrain that showcases the environmental challenges driving human evolution. They traverse rocky highlands where sure footing means survival, navigate thorny scrublands that conceal both food and predators, cross exposed grasslands where visibility provides security but also vulnerability, and explore woodland edges where opportunities and dangers coexist in precarious balance. Amara's growing expertise in food processing reveals the biochemical revolution occurring within early human digestive systems. She demonstrates techniques for detoxifying potentially poisonous plants, maximizing caloric extraction from tough materials, preserving perishable foods for future consumption, and combining different food types for optimal nutritional benefit. Her knowledge represents a biological and cultural adaptation that will eventually enable human survival in virtually any environment. The band's encounter with another group of early humans creates complex social dynamics that will shape the future of human cooperation and conflict. They must negotiate sharing of resources, exchange of information, potential mating opportunities, and territorial boundaries through communication systems that are becoming more sophisticated but still rely heavily on gesture, expression, and shared understanding of survival priorities. The afternoon's successful hunt of small game demonstrates improving coordination and strategic thinking among band members. Their hunting techniques combine individual skills with group tactics, environmental knowledge with technological innovation, patience with decisive action. The successful kill provides not just nutrition, but social bonding through shared effort and collective achievement. As evening settles over the primeval landscape, Kesi reflects on the day's lessons, while her companions prepare for another night of vigilance and survival. The dietary revolution they're living through is reshaping their bodies, minds, and social structures in ways that will echo through millions of years of human evolution. Every meal they've shared, every survival challenge they've overcome, every adaptation they've made is writing the genetic and cultural programming that will eventually enable their descendants to dominate the planet.